Hey guys, thanks for joining us on the Nocturnal Feeding with James, the Fish Room Feeder, and me, Chattanooga Ed. Haley will be coming up shortly. She's just got to set some things up. And you know, we really didn't talk to her how we were going to send her a link.
However I need to.
Can you send it to her Facebook?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. And she'll see that. Well, do you want to use... Okay, I can't see any chat until James says thank you to people, but I can talk about other things if you need to send that, and then I can go log on to the page. What do you want to do?
I can do the hellos if you would like me to while you're getting your chat pulled up. Absolutely. Let's see. As far up as I can go, we have got Merdul saying Dave's Aquarium Thoughts, mainly Bettas, John Cox, Color Guppies, Pride Morris, Fish and More, Danican Aquatics, What's Going On, Kenny E, Tank Top Tropics, appreciate you being here, Delilah's Critters, hello, Scott's Aquatics, Mississippi Hippie, Justin Powers, Deborah Sanders, Senna Foxy, Crown Tail, Half Moon, which has a question that we will get right back to, Pegasus Arena, IHSPS's Tank Tribe, I knew I was going to butcher it. Some nights I'm okay and some nights I'm not. L99, we're going to name you a Pleco, is here.
That's nice.
Aquatic Aesthetics as a local fish store in Chattanooga, Tennessee area. If you're in the area, go check them out. Of course, if you're in Knoxville, check out Aquatic Marine. Let's see, SC Catahoula's Collaboration of Curiosities. I like that new name to me. Good to see you here. I like that name though. Michael Long, Deborah Lewis, John Cox, Kimberly Bryant, Mike's Aquatics and Things, Rebecca Jackson, Third Coast Aquatics, Fat Man Aquatics, What's Going On, Carol Cox, and many more. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate everybody showing up to support Ed. 79 people here watching, 44 thumbs ups. If you're like myself and you forgot to hit that thumbs up on the way in, do me a favor and smash that now. Ed, would it be fair to say if you had some questions coming over from the Fish Room Fever stream that we just left, go ahead and throw those in now while we're getting our special guest set up and in here, and we'd be happy to take those.
Have you thrown Haley a link?
I have not. I can do that right now that I've finished the hellos.
Okay. While he's doing that, I was going to talk about there's 4 events that people have let me know about in the country. There might be stuff going on the West Coast, but nobody lets me know about that. But this weekend in Arlington, Texas, which is like basically Dallas. Last time I was in Arlington, I got robbed. Fun stuff. But okay, Arlington has the DFW Aquatic Expo this Saturday, the 27th, from 11 to 3, and admission's free. If you guys are in the Dallas area, go check it out. It's a great way to find, we were talking with Crown Tail about how some of the fish were dying and some of the flamingos, I guess, were dying off. Maybe she could get could find some flamingos from another dealer, or not a dealer, but from another breeder, and put them in there and maybe help the DNA a little bit so those fry will be better. So many things. And you can just meet. I mean, James and I go and we talk to people most of the time. Absolutely. It's just, we have so much fun. But so that's in Dallas this weekend.
Can you give me the name of that again, Ed? I accidentally closed all those tabs where I had all the links pulled up for these.
Sure. It's the DFW Aquatic Expo.
Got it. I'll get links in the chat for all these things. That way you all can check them out. I think most of them are Facebook pages.
Okay. And that's 11 to 3. Now, what's interesting is I think it's 11 to 3 their time. You know, because I don't think it would change. But James and I noticed one of the websites, the times changed because we were on the East Coast. Yes. And it was in the West Coast. So.
And that's the Facebook page I'm looking at here. Has it listed noon to 4 Eastern Standard Time.
Oh.
So. Be aware of that. If you're looking at it, it may be adjusted to your local time zone. But here's the link for their Facebook page in case you're interested in that.
Okay. And then on March 7th in Sterling Heights, Michigan, that's right outside Detroit, they're having a fish swap. And, I looked at the thing and I didn't really see the name of the club. My cow sent this to me, so I know it's legit. But it's March 7th, and Tropical Fish Swap in Michigan, March 7th, 2021, from 12 to 4 p.m. It says all the tables are sold out, and I really can't see. Maybe it's Baker Hall or South Balls Hall. So I don't know. You guys have to check it out. You guys from Detroit probably already know where this is, in Sterling Heights. But if I was in Michigan, I'd definitely make that one. Or if I was like Ohio or Northern Illinois, I think I'd try to definitely make that. That'd be pretty cool. Now I wonder if people from Windsor can come down. I bet you people from Windsor can. I don't know how hard it is to get fish across the border. But interesting thing to think about. Okay. Now, this one is one that James and I are planning on going to. It's the GCAS, March 13th in Cincinnati. GCAS is the Greater Cincinnati Aquarium Society. They're going from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And they also let me know that all their tables are sold also. So it's going to be a packed show. And James and I, we're not even really looking for fish. We're just, I think, going for fun.
Absolutely.
You know, we'll probably do a video. Well, we'll have to do our night show somewhere, you know, either on the ride home or if we decide to stay the night. If we do stay the night, I was thinking we'd probably stay Friday night and come home after the show. James just...
Yeah. Or, and like John at KG Tropical says, we're getting out of here. We need to go do some fish things. We need to go talk to some fish people.
Yeah.
We need to get out and rub elbows with the fishy folks. So even if we don't buy a lot of fish, which I really don't have intentions of getting much of anything, but you know how that goes. Definitely just want to go hang out with some fish people, look at some cool fish, and just spend time with the community.
Yep. I've been trying to open up a couple of tanks because one of my friends, she's trying to move some of her guppies. So I said I would take some of them off her hands. But I don't know if I have that many tanks for new things. So, but I am going to meet one guy up there, and I'm going to get some red, white, and blue guppies maybe, which is kind of exciting because that's been a dream of mine for a while. So that's in Michigan. Now, on April 3rd, it was in Charlotte, North Carolina. They're having, I think it's called the CAE. I don't know, Charlotte Aquarium. I don't know what the E would stand for.
Enthusiast?
Okay.
Is that?
Could be. I have no idea. Educational.
Yeah.
Education. I don't know. Who cares? Well, who cares? But James and I are thinking about trying to go to that one too, because I think that'd be kind of cool to go to a southern meet.
Expo, there we go.
Tennessee guys.
Why does the easy thought elude me? The Charlotte Aquarium Expo. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. Especially since you're like in the town of the Expo town. But so those are 4 club events that we're going to be going. Well, we're not going to necessarily be going to, but whenever anybody has a club event and they want to either send it to me on Instagram or Facebook, I will announce it and let everybody know. I also told LRB about those, and he's interested in a couple of them, so maybe you'll see LRB at one of these shows too.
There you go.
So
I'm not finding a link for that last one. I've got links posted for all the other ones, but I don't have a link for that last one. I've been trying to grab them on the fly as you mentioned them, but that one I'm not seeing. And CAE and Aquarium mostly pulls up a Chinese algae eater.
Let's see. It's the Carolina Aquatic Expo. So, and that's right off their YouTube page or Facebook page.
Gotcha. Fort Mill, South Carolina. Right?
Yep.
Yep. All right. I'll get a link in the chat for that. We do have some questions. Cremu Halftail said, can you explain more on using Canoplex for Columnaris? So the best way that I have found, first off, be careful with the stuff. I keep it right here on my desk for whatever reason. I think part of that's just to keep it where I know it's not going to accidentally end up in a tank. But I say that having kids and, you know, life happens. But this stuff is very, very potent. For anybody that's not familiar with it, it comes with a dosing spoon. There is your dosing amount. Very, very small amount that you dose. I would not exceed the recommended 3 treatments that they have on there. I think it's every other day, maximum 3 doses. Yes, 1 level measure, which is included, for every 20 liters or 5 gallons. Repeat every 2 days until symptoms disappear, or a maximum of 3 doses. I follow exactly how that says. It's obviously great if you can treat them in a smaller tank. The problem is, though, is that you really need to treat the tank that it's occurring in. So that may mean that you have to use a lot of it if you've got a bigger tank that needs treated. But that is one that I totally 100% adhere to the label. And you're thinking, don't you always adhere to the label? There are certain things I don't, such as using the CChem. Oh, goodness, the name always eludes me because there are so many different. CChem Stress Guard. It's a purple bottle. That has some antiseptic properties that I like to use when treating fish that kind of helps give them some soothing or some calming. But that's one of those, or a lot of medicines say, don't mix this with any other medication. And I've used that stress guard with a lot of other medications in conjunction, and had wonderful results with that. But this is one, follow the directions exactly like that. Make sure when you're dosing that you're getting the flat level scoop that's recommended, because it is a very, very small amount. And generally what I'll do is I'll take a cup of tank water and I'll dose it into that cup and I'll stir it really, really good. And then I'll kind of pour that into where there's some water flow, either like maybe where a filter is pumping water out if you've got a hang on back or some sort of canister or something like that. Or if you've just got a sponge filter, just kind of pour it across the top down the middle so that it, you know, kind of gets dispersed evenly. Very good stuff, but very strong stuff.
Now, where do you get that?
I got this. I actually got this at Aquatic Marine, my local fish store.
Awesome.
Most, I think most PetSmart's, Petco's will have it. If you've got a great local fish store, like, you know, I've got Aquatic Marine, Ed's got Aquatic Aesthetics. Check with them first. They generally have it. It's not really super hard to find. Push comes to shove, or if you just happen to win a $25 Amazon gift card off of my channel, you could get it on Amazon. But I would always, of course, recommend supporting your local mom and pop fish stores first. Go there and grab it.
I would buy something cool on Amazon, like the Creature from the Black Lagoon doll.
Right.
Actually, I wouldn't. I bought one this week, and they put it in the box sideways and bent the box all up that the action figure guy's in, and I was planning on keeping him in the box, so that was kind of disappointing. Absolutely. But I was just saying that so people would spend money at their fish store.
Absolutely. Let's see. So we've got Edgar Reyes saying hello. As always, appreciate you being here, Edgar. Thanks for being with us. It's the old. Is this supposed to be Oli? I think it is, because it was OLY before. The name has changed again. The Oli Fish Guy. Says Fisherman Fever and Ed. James and Ed, howdy from Olympia, Washington. I think that's the comment that I was trying to get to in the other stream and I missed. I hope all is well with you guys, a.k.a. Sean, a.k.a. S. Shretza. Good to see you. Appreciate you being here with us, and letting us know on the name update who it is, because that happens. People change names, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. Even when it was I Hate Stupid People changed their name, and it was HSPS's Tank Tribe. It didn't click that was I Hate Stupid People. So always appreciate the updates on that. Hey, Maria C., glad to see you again. And like I said, I will go beat the post office employees up tomorrow and find that package you sent me. Grunto Halfman says, can you share Goliath Farm YouTube channel? Here they have massive loss due to the Texas Yeah, absolutely. We can get that link. It's rolling down through here. Our man says, I finally got my bristlenose plecos, Brutus, a clay cave, and some driftwood. My question is, what kind of wood do plecos like? So generally, you want to look for a softer wood because they're going to be rasping on it. So you don't want something that's really, really hard. I find that Mopani is a really hard wood. It's one of those, like Ed and I discussed previously on the stream before on my channel. That stuff, it's really dense, and it just like instantly sinks.
That's the hardest wood there is. Right?
Yeah. Will they chew on it? Yes. Is it probably doing much good for them? Not so much. So I go with your softer woods, manzanita, pretty much anything but Mopani, honestly, I found works really well and they rasp on. They will on Mopani, but it's such a hard, dense wood that it's rough.
When you're saying softer woods, you don't mean like pine, though. Because softwood, you really don't want in your tank.
Right. No, but you want to go on the softer side of the spectrum. Things that, how do I put this? Things that deteriorate a little bit quicker than, say, your Mopani. Like manzanita is a great one. Pretty much anything that you can find in your local fish store, except Mopani, does really good. Mopani is a beautiful wood, but pretty much anything else you're going to be good with. And that would be my recommendation. So find one that you like the look of, that's going to go well with your scape, and you should be good to go. Yeah,
like S just said, soft wood, okay? So, but he's meaning soft hardwood.
Yeah, hardwood. We always get the I'm sure the jokes in the chat about having softwood. Everybody loves the wood comments. The chat always goes wild when you talk about your wood, Ed.
I'm so slow.
Fat Man Aquatics, what's going on, Fat Man? Says, hey man, just curious, did you ever receive an email from me? I'll look again, but I feel like I didn't, because I was going through catching up on emails last night and the night before, and I feel like I didn't see it, but I'll look again, see if I can find it. Roll down through here, get these highlighted things. Our man, that was the driftwood again. There we go. I think we might be caught up with the questions.
Will plecos rasp on chula wood or cholla?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Spiderwood should be fine. I mean, so you have to keep in mind that the surface area, with it being more branchy, it doesn't really have a lot of flat surface area. But I mean, their little suckers can kind of conform around things. It's surprising how much bend there is, I guess, if you will, to their mouths. So yeah, absolutely.
Now, when they're rasping, are they sucking the wood or are they actually chewing on the wood?
I mean, it's a bit of both, because it's kind of a sandpapering material off of it and then sucking / ingesting type thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So like John Cox said, no softwoods, but softer types of hardwoods. Yes, absolutely. There are a lot of things, like we mentioned before, that you put it in your tank and it floats, and you've got to get it waterlogged, or, you've got certain things that don't have the surface area, so they're not necessarily buoyant as much. And those are the things that I typically look at. Sorry, I was checking my emails over here. Boom, got that. Natural Aquariums, if you're in here hanging out with us, I will. I don't need your address because it's a code, not a physical gift card. So I could just send you that code, and you can actually use that as soon as you get it, so you don't have to wait for the mail. But I did get your email, so I want to let you know I got that. And again, congrats on winning that giveaway over on the channel. HSPS's Tank Tribe says, is $20 a good price for 10 pounds of lava rock? Ed?
You know what? How much?
$20 for 10 pounds.
I think that's really expensive.
I think it's expensive.
Because I bought a 20-pound bag. It's like on the floor somewhere in here. And 2 hoses, and the whole thing came to $24. So I'm guessing that it's like $7 a bag normally, or $8. I'm just guessing. I didn't even look at the price when I bought it. I'm just thinking when I picked it up and threw it in the thing what my final bill was.
Yeah, like Fat Man said, a 40-pound bag, and it's the same here. And I know prices can vary depending upon location, but like we get 40-pound bags here, and so does Fat Man Aquatics, and I'm sure most people at Home Depot or Lowe's for $6, $7, $8. So yeah, that's pretty expensive. If it's being sold as aquarium purpose, that might be why the price has been raised up on it, and I'll phrase it that way to be polite. But realistically, you don't need any type of special treated lava rock when you can just buy the $8 bag, a 40-pound bag, and just rinse it yourself. That'd be my big thing, is make sure you rinse it thoroughly. And that may be what you found, is somebody has gone through the effort of rinsing it really well, and so now it's ready to go or whatever, and they're upcharging for the cost of actually cleaning it and prepping it for you. Brian Gomes says, how would you know the driftwood is ready to put in your fish tank? Ed?
Well, there's a lot of ways. Let me pick it up. Okay. First thing is I'm going to wait till the tannins are out, because then I know it's soaked and the tannins have been pulled. But it's pretty much, if you're boiling it or like using hydrogen peroxide, it's all about time. You just got to let it sit long enough to soak in. I mean, I don't think there's any way you can actually just look at it and say, okay, everything's dead. Is that, well, I mean, what would you say, James?
No, I could agree with that. I am guilty of not, quote unquote, properly treating my driftwoods. And I've mentioned that before. A lot of times my wood, my driftwood, because I'm seeing all sorts of wood comments in here about my aquarium driftwood. A lot of times I'll give it a good rinse, and then I'll throw it in a tank and I'll let it float until it sinks. Or if it's something that I really need to put to use in escape or something of that nature, I will attach it to something heavy, so that, yeah, there's the comments. Just whipped it out, no shame. I whipped his wood out right there. But yeah, I'll attach it to something heavy to sink it, to kind of try and force that water logging to happen quicker. But a lot of times I've taken driftwood and just tossed it in a tank. I've got, a couple of larger, decent sized tanks. We'll just toss it in there and eventually it'll sink. And then I know it's ready and I can use it when I need it. I've got a 100-gallon tank in the other room that's probably got 8 or 10 pieces of driftwood just sitting on the bottom, where I just tossed them in and they floated until they sunk, and I'll leave them in there so that they're waterlogged and ready to go. And then when I need one of those pieces, I can reach in, grab it, and it's ready to go into my escape.
What type of things can be living on here? I know mosquito eggs have no problem living outside of water, because it's basically, mosquito eggs turn into like dirt and powder. And as soon as they're wet, then they start going. But can leeches do the same thing? I mean, or what?
So I don't know they can. I guess to preface this from a scientific standpoint, I'm sure there are some things that potentially could live on there, just like you have certain bacteria that's capable of living above boiling. And you have bacteria that lives in like geysers and things, where the water is hot enough to kill most things, but yet life finds a way. So there's always going to be that one-off or that random thing that is a possibility. Speaking in general terms, something like that, I would probably give it a really good rinse down. And then I would do like the sun curing method, like we talked about. Stick it outside. You could even stick it in like a container with a piece of not plexiglass, but take some saran wrap over it so nothing else is getting in there, but it can kind of bake in that. You could use plexiglass, and that's probably going to help with the heat retention anyways. But kind of set it out in the sun and sunbake it if it's something that's too big to get into a pot for boiling. My biggest thing with wood, I'm trying to carefully phrase here because everybody's a comedian, right, when it comes to talking about our wood. But my biggest thing when it comes to making sure the wood is safe is making sure there's no types of like mildews or mold or fungi spores or anything like that. No, any of that stuff. In terms of like parasites and organisms, you really don't have to worry about it with things like what you've got versus crowd's going to love this one versus when your wood's wet. If you're taking wood out of a body of water and you're bringing it home, then there are a lot more things that you would need to worry about in terms of potential parasites and organisms and all of that wonderful stuff.
That's your leeches probably right there.
Yeah, that would be when I'd worry about leeches. I'd worry about potentially dragonfly larvae or nymphs, things of that nature. Definitely. GRB Aquatics says 115 people watching and 78 likes. Please consider hitting that thumbs up button. I would definitely appreciate it. My buddy here, Chattanooga Ed, he's an awesome guy. And I love that we've got almost 120 people here watching and 80 thumbs ups. I appreciate you all supporting him. He's been a huge friend to me. And I can't thank y'all enough for helping him out. So
let's see if Haley's said anything.
I don't have her backstage, so
okay. She said right before the show said, "Life's a little crazy. Give me a minute." So
there we go.
Who knows?
All right, Patty, how's it going? Patty says that's an awesome piece of wood, though. Got to give it its due. Making my eyes pop with the size of it and girth. Seriously. Oh, well, God, Patty.
And it was even huger.
Yeah.
It's
been surgically reduced.
It's been spliced right in the middle.
Surgical size reduction there.
I was gonna look for a stump, and I saw this piece and was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" Because it's like, and Rob, he suggested I do something like this, or maybe two. But I really just wanted one going straight up the middle and then planting like a bush of plants around it. Or, growing them all around to make it real wide. But this one, look at that. That's really neat too. This is a really nice piece. I wasn't even planning on using it.
That is a really nice piece. Sorry, I'm looking at all the comments in the chat about the wood. People mentioned morning wood. If you're needing a little bit of morning wood, Aquatic Aesthetics says they'll be carrying it soon at the store. Of course, that is made by Rapashi. That's some awesome pleco food there. From what I've seen and heard, I've not personally got to try it. But yeah, get your morning wood at your local fish store.
Yep. Rob told me about that. So let's give him a shout out. Rob at Aquatic Aesthetics in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Absolutely.
He's going to be getting me Rapashi because I've been begging for Rapashi for a while. Bob Kaler and I, we have searched, I don't know, maybe 25 fish stores.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about just in this metropolitan area, but Georgia and Tennessee. We have searched for Rapashi and haven't found it. So, but Rob is going to start doing it, and that is so cool. And that makes me feel better about if I would go with an Amazon puffer. Rob has one of those at the store because you can put the shells, crunched up shells in it when you mix it. Mm-hmm. And Dan from Get Gills, he has a whole video on it, on how he grinds their teas without having to give them full shells.
Right.
But I've got bajillions of snails, and I've been literally tossing snails, in the garden. So I thought it'd be nice to feed something to the snails. Or not feed feed the snails to something.
We knew what you meant. We knew. Yeah. Yeah, please don't feed your puffer to the snail's head.
Yeah.
So Brian Gomes has got a great question. How do you tell the difference between male and female angelfish?
Well, the little thingy is a little bigger on the girls.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. I'm not aware of a true way to tell unless they are breeding.
You can they have like a little nubble bump. The boys do too. You'll get a little more of a bump on the boys generally.
You do, but I found it's a matter of perspective. Because I've seen some that you might think that there's enough nuchal hump for it to be a male, and it's actually a female, and vice versa. You have a male that doesn't really have much of a nuchal hump.
That is true.
The only surefire way that I know of really is to look at I'm going to pronounce this incorrectly, papillae. They're little parts that stick out when they're getting ready to make and fertilize eggs. And like Ed mentioned, the females, it's going to be a little bit fatter and it's going to be more flattened on the tip, and the males is going to be a little less fatter and it's going to be more pointy. We had to segue to there from wood, didn't we? That just makes it great. Sorry, Ed, when this gets pulled off of YouTube. But yeah, that's the only way I know of is to actually catch them when they're thinking about making some eggs. And you look at that, and especially once you get the hang of it, you can tell the males from the females, generally speaking.
And the females get a little plump too when they're filled with eggs too.
Yeah, absolutely. Jess, Jess, it's good to see you. God bless you. Says, keep your wood free of disease, guys, especially wet wood. Absolutely. Keep your aquarium safe. That's what she's referencing. We're going to bypass all of these snickery wet wood comments here. I love you guys. Nothing wrong with it. I love the humor. It's great. Kimberly Bryant says, I've heard that some people will bake driftwood before using it. True or false? Yes, some people definitely will. Nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that you don't, set it ablaze / turn your oven into a smoker. I have known that some people have done that, and then they get the smell kind of baked in there. Especially, my biggest fear would be so let's say you're wild collecting. You go out and you find some wood and you stick it in there. Maybe it does have some fungus on it or some sort of mold spores or anything like that. You're then baking that inside your house. And I'm not necessarily a fan of that, especially with kids and all of my tanks being oxygen fed. I don't want to risk putting something into the air that's potentially harmful to myself or my fish. If it can get sucked up through my linear air pump and pumped into all of my aquariums. Not that that's likely to happen necessarily, but I'm one of those people that kind of tries to plan for all crazy possibilities and weigh the risk and rewards. If it's something you're getting from a local fish store, sure, go for it. If it's something that you grabbed out of the woods by the creek, I don't necessarily know that I would go that route unless I know I'm not going to be like baking fungus in the house.
I did a project once where I took a piece of firewood and I chopped, it was a half slice of wood, and I chopped it into like 2-inch pieces and I drilled holes through it. So that way shrimp could go in and out. But then I was going to grow plants all along the tops of these things. Mm-hmm. And I threw the first one in to boil it because, they're half deals. And then, I kind of got sidetracked and started thinking about other stuff. And I forgot all about it. And I started smelling something, and it smelled like pan. It smells like hickory barbecue or something. I was cooking the wood on my stove. Couldn't believe it. So pay attention to when you're boiling your stuff.
Absolutely. I've done the same.
Oh, thank goodness.
It's one of those things that it happens to the best. If it's kind of like overfilling a tank, when you're multitasking, sooner or later, you're probably going to overfill a tank if you're trying to do too many things. I've literally overfilled a tank on a live stream before. So, life happens. Delilah's Critter says, at what point can you tell your wood is rotting in a bad way and not in a tanniny way? When do you know to remove and replace? Ed?
That's a great question. Does it have to mold outside of the air, though, for it to truly be bad? Like you'd see mold on it.
Right.
On the rot. So like if you've got, we're going to bring it up again, your water line's here. If you see I would say if you're seeing the fungus and stuff growing at the top, that's probably not a good thing. Because then it's going to start rotting. I don't know how a lot of people do that with how they have their wood sticking out of the water like that. And it doesn't mess up.
I've done I didn't get the link on there. Sorry, I was trying to get the link for Goliath. I'm going to post the channel right below it there. Go check them out and support them. They're going through some tough stuff right now. All the stuff going on in Texas. But what's going on, Jeff Rose? Good to see you. Keep that beard awesome. I hope you're doing your weekly tank dips. You got to dip the thing in the tank at least once a week to keep it nice and shiny and and smooth. Yeah, I don't really think that it necessarily goes bad underwater. It could be visually displeasing when it starts to crumble / decay. And at that point, if it's looking ugly, you could pull it out. But I feel like as it starts to break down, that's just going to open up more for the microorganisms to have more places to go, and the shrimp to have more places to find stuff, and the fish to have more little places to nip at. But it could definitely be visually displeasing at that point. So I'd say if it gets to the point that it bothers you, pull it out. Otherwise, I'm not personally aware of a scientific reason that you would need to remove that wood.
Yeah, I can't think of it breaking down and causing little pieces all over the tank or something either, really.
Yeah. So I mean so one thing could be if it's deteriorating to the point that it's clouding the water, that it's getting a lot of particulate sucked up into your filter, which we recommend pre-filter sponges anyways. But that could definitely be one sign. If you've got a lot of small particulate floating around the tank, that may be an issue.
Yep. I was just checking. Boy, I don't know. We may have lost Haley.
That may be another week thing, but we've had some great questions, so we've got about 20 minutes left. So Brian Gomes would like to know what kind of angelfish I have behind me and what is my favorite angelfish. This is a variety of, Mrs. Fever could answer this better. There's some pandas. There's a dusky rose. There's the black marbles. There's the other ones I don't know the names of. I would definitely have to say my favorite is probably the pandas. Hers is the dusky rose. They're so hard to find. We've only found a couple. I've got one that's about that big, and it's growing out in another tank. And we'll eventually go in with them. But I love the pandas. I think they're super, super cool.
My favorites are the koi, and I really like the pearl scale.
Oh, yeah. Pearl scales are awesome.
I've got one, and I love them to death.
So I don't have any of them. But the blues, the Pinoy blues or the Filipino blues, those are beautiful, beautiful fish, and I would love to have some of those at some point. But I've not had any so far, so I kind of kept to what I have or have had.
Yep. I want to do another big shout out to I was talking about aquatic aesthetics with Rob, but his guy Andrew that works there. He's a young guy. He just started a YouTube channel, and he did a video. It's a saltwater tank, but it's only a 15-gallon. But it's crazy with the corals in it. And unfortunately, I don't know what his channel's name is. Oh, that's terrible. So much for a shout out for the poor guy. Rob, what's Andrew's channel? Oh well. Well, next week we'll give you guys the shout out. But he is a super great. That's Andrew's. Oh,
Aquatic Concepts.
Okay, cool.
All right, so I do want to jump back. Crown to a Half Moon, and sorry I missed it earlier. Things kind of jumped around. It says, after 3 dosages of Canaplex, what's the next step? Does it mean that they are cured and can be added back to other healthy fishes? Hopefully, yes. Not always, though. So generally what I'll do is I'll do those 3 doses, and then I'll wait about a week, and then I'll do a water change on that tank. If everything looks healthy, and I'll do about a 25% water change if everything looks all right. If it looks like they're still having issues, I'll do like a 50% water change. And then the next day I'll do another 50% water change. And then the next day you could even do another one. And basically what I'm trying to do, and you could use carbon as well, is I'm pulling some of that Canaplex out that's remaining, so that I can get set up to do another dosage. But I want to give about a week in between minimum. before I do another before I do another run of dosing Canaplex. And a lot of times, if they weren't treated the first run through, they don't survive that long for another run of it. And that's one of the problems, is you don't just want to keep dosing this stuff, dose after dose after dose. But also, a lot of times, if it didn't work, they don't last that long. And that tends to happen fairly often. It's one of those things that it's just a fact of life almost with it. But
I know some people have a question about that. Can you keep invertebrates in the tank, or will it affect them?
I feel like I have dosed it with invertebrates. Now, here's where I'm going to go to the label and see exactly what it says. So
Sure.
I'm a huge fan. That's one of the first things people will message me and go, hey, how do I use this? And I'll say, I'm not trying to be a smart aleck, but read the label. Because I have had people who have messaged me and they didn't even know that they were supposed to be doing water changes. They're like, well, I dosed this medicine. When can I dose it again? And I said, well, the label says you should do 25% water change, dose this, that, and the other. And they're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, please. So first and foremost, read the label on anything you use. And I don't say that to be mean. I just say that because if you're going to use something, you need to know what the instructions are. I mean, I feel like I've used this with invertebrates. I don't see anything specifically saying no. Rob from Aquatic Aesthetics probably has an answer for us, a more definitive answer.
Or Priscilla might know too.
Sulfate. So inactive ingredients, 68%. For ornamental aquariums only and not for human consumption. So please don't taste test it before you put it in the tank.
Another project that I'm doing that I'm going to make a video for. I've been kind of holding off on videos because I'd like to get monetized so I can have a commercial. I know that sounds terrible. Well, I'm just waiting for the process. I think James said we're at the last step or something.
Yeah, I need to check that.
But I am making a Stonehenge for my fish tank, one of my future fish tanks. And these things are solid. I've baked them. And I tried to make them look real rustic, like the Stonehenge, kind of like they've been cut or chipped and made. So they're going to go all in the tank, and I plan on doing a carpeting plant. And I just want to see fish swimming through these things. But it's Sculpey, and I had Sculpey right next to me. Here we go. This stuff. And it says that it's hazard-free and totally safe. So I'm going to do an experiment, and I'm going to put a couple of fish in, and we're going to see if it truly is safe. Because I think it'd be fun to start making a lot more bigger, neater things eventually.
Absolutely.
So, kind of a fun project. I guess we could have talked about this on Dave Core on your channel earlier. But kind of fun.
Brian Gomes has a question. Says, is it bad to do a water change every 4 days?
Well, what's in his tank?
Oh, the dragon has appeared.
Woohoo!
How are you?
Hi, Haley.
Best life.
How's it going?
It is an honor to have you. You are so cool.
What are you guys talking about? I'm not that cool. What are you guys talking about?
We're doing Q&A.
Yeah, we're just answering questions. We'll ask Haley. Is it okay to do water changes every 4 days?
Every 4 days?
Yep.
In an established tank, as long as you're not doing like a 100% water change.
Yeah, that's really the question: is how much water is he changing?
Yeah.
Like, is it just a 10%? Because
10% is nothing. You can do that every day.
Yeah. The other thing I think would be what's the purpose? So if it's like to bring down nitrates or anything like that, you can change water too much, as I'm sure you know, because you can actually have adverse effects from dropping those levels too quickly. So yes and no.
But
Right.
like a fish store, they keep their tanks overstocked, so they have to change their water a ton. Like Haley, you guys probably have to change them all the time at work.
It kind of depends on what's in the tank and how much you're feeding. So in my opinion, water changes are much more based on how fast do you want your plants to grow and how much food are you putting into the system. So if you're feeding this much flake food once a day, you may not ever have to change water in that aquarium if it's established well with a bunch of plants. But if you're pumping 6 cubes of bloodworms into it because you've got nothing but predators in there and they're producing that much waste, you're going to need to do more water changes.
Absolutely.
Was that Ryan Gomes that asked that question?
Yes. I did, technically I did a 100% water change the other day. I have 2 tanks that are on the same system. It's a 90-gallon and a 100-gallon. I pumped all of the new water through the top tank, let it overflow into the bottom tank. None of the water from the bottom tank was recycled up because I decided to take them off of the same system and run the pumps independently with sponge filters. So technically that top tank had 150 gallons of water flow through it. It's a 90-gallon tank. That's a massive water change. Do I necessarily recommend that? No. Is everything fine and I knew it would be okay? Yes. Ed playing with his wood again.
You know what?
About your wood. I got some messages about your wood.
You did. How would you treat a piece of driftwood that you pulled out of a lake or river? Because we've already gone over a whole mess of ways, but we're just wondering how the dragon would do it.
Okay. Somebody tell Stephen Conroe to stop text messaging about Ed's wood. But calm down.
Darn it, I had Steven's fertilizer on my table and I took it off. I rotate the things on my table, so I'm always got different things to put up when just random people say things. And I had his fertilizer here and I took it off just a day ago.
614fish.com. So if I pulled a piece of wood out of a river and I wanted to put it in a fish tank, the first thing that I would do with it is I would spray off as much of the gunk as I could, and then I would leave it outside in the sun and the rain and the winter and everything for probably about a year. And as soon as I knew it had weathered for like a year and it was dried out in the sun, I would put it in my fish tank. That's what I would do with that wood, Stephen.
Well, James likes to do the sun way too.
Yeah.
So.
Nature put it there. Nature will make it good.
I like that.
Yep.
Nature does most of my work. I'm going to kick Steve straight in his teeth if he does not stop.
I'm on top chat. Okay, I'm on live chat now. Can't believe that. Okay. So, Haley,
So
are you still really into rope fish?
Yes. Currently have 11 rope fish.
Nice. How old is your oldest one?
I have no idea. They're all wild caught. Therein lies the problem with my breeding project. I need rope fish that are at least 15 years old, and I have no way of telling how old any of them are. Yes, based on their size, but...
What's the max length of a rope fish? Just so you have an idea, at least they're not going to grow any farther.
Generally, they'll say 12 to 14 inches is the max size. I've seen them get bigger than that. But in my opinion, the age is much more indicative of how thick they are. Because once they hit that max length, they just start becoming a thicker-bodied rope fish. So I need my rope fish long and old and thick. Please stop asking me questions that make me answer them in these horrible, horrible ways. The innuendos and puns are strong tonight in your live stream, James.
Yes, they really are. This is Ed's live stream. That's this is on him.
Hey, we've got over 100 people, so let's keep going.
Absolutely.
Well, okay.
Excuse me.
Oh, it looks like baby cat. Wow, that looks a lot like baby cat.
This is Ozzy.
I've actually got the pet Ozzy.
He's a good boy.
He is. But from the angle that we were looking at him,
Mm-hmm.
it looked just like my cat. Because that's like when I'm looking through her. I don't know where my cats are tonight. Okay, not really a rope fish question, but a Bisher question.
Okay.
Okay, Haley also knows Bishers also. So, have you noticed that are some Bishers a lot more aggressive than others? Like, my ornates seem to try to eat everything in the tank.
Yeah, the different species have different levels of aggression. So all the Senegalis are pretty much the same. But when you start getting into like the Delhizes and the Ornatopenis and the Endolacari and things like that, they get different temperaments. The lower jaw species, which are like the Endolacari, and the ones that get like super big, those tend to not be super aggressive. I think it's because they're big and they're lazy. But the medium-sized ones, like the Delhizes and the Ornatopenis, they tend to be a little more, in my experience, jumpy. Like they spook easier.
Well, I have a Delhizi, and I was growing these guys out to be able to go in there with her.
How
But
big? We got ours at the same time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So my ornates are about, I don't know, 7 inches? I don't know, about that long.
Like a big bratwurst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my Dahizi is a lot thicker.
Yeah.
But about the same length. So she's not gotten super long, and she's a year older, but she's skin so much thicker. But she's like super chill and always relaxed. You know, she doesn't chase. I've got her in with threadfin Acaris. And I'm afraid I was going to put those two in with the threadfins, but I think that they'll be attacking or chasing the threadfins everywhere.
Oh, I would not put any kind of Bashir with a threadfin rainbow.
Oh, threadfin Acara.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's probably fine. Cichlids.
Okay.
No, I don't cichlid, I'm sorry.
It's all right. Well, I generally don't, and I'm not the cichlid guy either. It's just in my 200 tank, I wanted something big and pretty, so I went with that.
On a quick side note, Ed, could you send me your full name in either the private chat or a text message?
Even my middle name?
Yes.
And your
What?
It's for your YouTube. Oh, act like you haven't told me your social and your PIN number for your debit card before.
Can we go ahead and put that in the chat?
Well, can I do that afterwards?
I mean,
because I will dox myself severely.
Yes, but I won't be able to turn on your super chats until you do it.
That's fine.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you'll have to wait till next week then.
He likes chat and talk to text or whatever, and sometimes it just does not work for him.
Oh yeah, I've laid in a hotel next to him in a separate bed. Let me specify that because the chat's going freaking nuts right now. Separate bed, same hotel room. I
could probably find a picture of him.
Oh God! And I've heard some of the things where he'll say something in his phone, and he's like, "What? I didn't say that."
Something message that says I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Well, I think my voice to chat just hates me because I don't have a southern accent I'm supposed to in this area. Okay, now this is
Ornate Bashir.
Oh, nice. What now? Is that the same family from mine?
That's the same one that you got. Same time.
Mine are a lot darker. Mine are a lot more brown.
Well, what color substrate do you have?
I have sand. Same as yours.
I don't know.
But they do hang out. I have a wood log, so they hang out in that all the time, too. Maybe that's helping change them darker. One also has a black jaw. Like the under part of its jaw is completely black, which I think is neat and unusual.
They've all got different variations.
It was really neat because when we first met Haley in person, it was at the Big Fish deal. And we had so much fun. and were they called Trident Aquatics that had the brashears?
A and B Spartan Aquatics.
Spartans. Okay. I know it was something Trident Spartans. And we all got some, and I absolutely love mine. A lot of times you guys will notice that I'm like doing this instead of looking because I'm watching my two guys just swimming in circles.
This is my long. Hang on. Where's she at? Long fin Senegalese.
Oh, wow.
Pretty.
Now, you see, I think my two would eat her.
Yeah, probably.
I put in
They grew
two.
up, so they don't mess with each other.
That's cool. I put two giant autocinquettes in there.
I love
And I mean, they were 4 inches about. And they were chewing. Like, I saw one of the bikers just doing this, like chewing on something. So I went over there, and the auto catch just laying on the laying there, letting them chew on it. So, yeah, I can't put anything in with them. It's kind of a bummer.
So James H has a question. Says hermaphrodite guppies? ? I have a guppy with what looks like a gravid spot and definitely a gonopodium.
It's possible. I've seen it.
Wow.
I'm still here. I'm working on stuff in the chat and in the emails and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I maybe had one and never even paid attention to it.
Yeah,
That's terrible.
Happened overbreeding.
Also, there was a question about it being hybridized with a guppy Endler hybrid, and where they can kind of get that dark spot there.
That happens too.
Now, with your ropefish, do you have, like, we saw your pond. Have you ever seen them coming out of the pond, or are they always in the water?
No, they definitely come out and they eat bugs and stuff that are on the land. And actually, funny story, I have a security system at my house, and one of the cameras is in the back room over the pond. And I had to turn the motion sensors off because it was picking up the ropefish jumping out and triggering the motion sensors.
That is so cool.
I was like, that's a weird problem.
Now, do you have to put different types of bugs in there? Do you put crickets in there, or?
I have a colony of springtails and isopods that are in there. They come out and eat those. Sometimes I'll put worms, like earthworms, in there. Sometimes I'll put crickets in there. They eat, all kinds of stuff. Sometimes I get ants that decide that they're like, oh, look, this is a nice place to live. They come out and eat those.
Well, now, do they actually eat the springtails also?
I don't.
Or is that for the isopods to eat? Or what's...
Just because the springtails are so small.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that they would pass one up if one got in their mouth.
Yeah. Huh. Kind of interesting. What do you normally feed them?
Bloodworms and blackworms occasionally, tilapia. Basically, any kind of protein that I can find that is aquatic protein. They also eat a lot of shrimp. Because inside the pond, there's actually a breeding colony of wild neocordinia. So the shrimp breed pond, and they breed more. And Stephen Conroe text messages me for the 500th time. Stop.
Now, are you ever worried about bloodworms? Now, I've heard people, like big guppy breeder people, saying that I should never feed bloodworms to my guppies because they're afraid that they'll pass parasites to the guppies. You never worried about parasites from... That's cool.
No.
Because it's like something that goes, oh, because I'm a huge bloodworm guy myself.
Guess how many cubes of bloodworms it takes me to feed my fish every day?
17.
Keep going.
27.
23.
Yeah.
I gave up on cubes and now I go with sheets.
Yeah.
See, I wish I could go sheets, but I have OCD and I know exactly how much of everything goes into all of my systems. And I cannot for the life of me figure out how to chop those sheets up into equal pieces so that I can OCD them into the tanks.
A very large serrated knife is what I've used before.
I feel
But
like I hurt myself if I do that.
right, so don't do that.
Like, I'm
but-
not advice from the dude that had half his finger off the last time I saw him. Okay.
Hey, that wasn't from a knife though.
I'm not sure that matters.
Well, I break it all up and then I melt it all in a bowl and I do
And you
teaspoons.
feed out. Yeah, that would take me forever to feed out that way.
Yeah, but it's fun. I like it when they come and eat from the spoon.
I'm
It's
sure
great.
it's fun. I take 7 cubes that are frozen and I stick my hand down in this pond and I feed the rope fish.
Oh, that's awesome.
Actually, they're hungry. I might be able to do that for you. Hang on before I have to get out of here because I got about 6 other things I got to do.
Now, do ropefish have teeth?
No.
Okay.
No. Okay, let's see if I can film this on a schmeckent. I need to pop some of these out of here. Okay, thank you.
So we've got Dave's Aquarium Thoughts live in about 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link real quick for that. This is directly to that stream. It says preparing for disaster live stream. Should be a good talk.
That's a great one from what just happened. Haley, are you planning on going to any of the fish swaps that are going to be coming up in the next month?
Well, I want to. I can't go to the Cincinnati one because that is on my daughter's birthday.
Oh, bummer. James and I will be there.
Yeah, we have a big party for that day. And then I don't know what's coming up after that, but I'm sure I will find out. But as soon as I can, I'm ready to rock.
There's
Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can flip this camera around. See if I know how to YouTube. Can I YouTube? Oh, nope, I can't.
Yeah.
Come on. Camera.
Michelle Frenzy is asking what Dragon's YouTube is. I posted a link just a bit ago. We'll post another one. It was the Oddball Aquatics. She is known as the Dragon, but Oddball Aquatics. I posted actually under Chattanooga Ed's name because I had to switch to his YouTube to go in the studio to check on his monetization. But we'll post it again.
All right. Hang on. Come on, guys. There's a lot of glare on this tank, so I apologize in advance.
Crowntail is asking about breeding guppies and endlers. Generally, you get 75-80% of your color from your male, but you get your body and tail stuff from the female also. So I don't know what would happen if you took a gray endler and mixed her with your guppies, for sure. But it'll probably have at least the color of the male guppy and then maybe a unique body shape, if that helps. But I've noticed, though, one thing with endlers is sometimes the females still give off a lot of color. Because I've tried to mix some, they were virgin females with, it was a couple of LRBs endlers he gave me because one of his females died. So I put one of his in, and it had no orange at all on it. And they're still producing some orange endlers with it. So endlers might be a little bit more split than guppies.
Come on, Derpy. It's right there. Usually I just throw this stuff in. The kid's the one that does this, so they're used to a smaller hand.
So now, you were still talking about the smaller hand, but do they recognize the individuals? Like if I would get up there or James, would they be like, oh, no way?
They'd probably come look, and as long as you were chill, they would probably be fine with it. They can usually sense pretty well when somebody is zen or if somebody is like a spaz, and they tend to act accordingly.
Yeah, I remember you telling us that when we were up at your place.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're chill, they will come all the way up to you no matter what. But if you move fast or you're putting off any weird vibes, they aren't really into it. And right now they know I'm filming them and they're acting like a bunch of punks.
But they look cool.
They do.
Yeah. They're
Now,
like, where is the food? Because normally I just drop it in there. So they're like, it should be right here. Where's it at? Hello, up here.
Now, are those jumbos or are they normal?
Jumbo what? Ropefish?
Bloodworm.
Oh, no, these are just regular bloodworm cubes. They're all melted in my hand now, though.
Yeah. So, Haley, do you still have your website where you sell awesome plants?
I don't, actually. I shut it down because I don't have a lot of stuff to put on there right now. And also, here you go, guys. And also, I've been doing so much work. I just took over a bunch of the customer service stuff for Aquatic Arts. So I've been doing a bunch of that nonsense, and I just don't have time at the moment to do my own shipping.
Sure.
So a lot of the stuff that I would normally put up on that website, I am now going to be selling in bulk, either to Aquatic Arts or locally through the club.
Well, I've got some of your plants, and they're all doing great.
Rainbow fish. I got to get rid of these. Tom Patterson is going to get about 6 of these from me, but I've got just a stupid amount of these rainbow fish at the moment. And then this is where the baby bettas are growing out. That's my giant snail.
I actually showed off one of your bristlenose in James' stream.
Baby betta.
One of your brown bristlenose.
Yeah,
It was eating a green bean, and we were talking about green beans.
Oh, they
and stuff.
That's Wags. He doesn't have a tail.
Yeah, he was little bitty at one time.
Yeah. I bred him at Lucas's house.
I remember when he was on Lucas's when he was just a baby.
Yeah, he was just a little baby.
That's awesome. Oh, can we look at your shrimp tank there?
Hello, boy. It's
this
cloudy because I just fed him. But yeah, this is the cool part. Look at this moss.
Wow.
Throw up that rock now.
This is the coolest tank in the world.
I highly recommend 50 low boys. They're just so much fun.
If you had a second 50 low boy, what would you do?
Probably the same thing. Just because I think this is a great tank for growing out plants and being able to play with plants. And the best thing you can do for a planted tank like this is have shrimp in it.
Yeah, you guys, this isn't doing it justice. When you're there and get to see the shrimp all over the place, just crawling around, it is so cool. I have a whole mess of Haley shrimp in my fish room, too.
I do love the mixed colored Neocaridina shrimp. I am a fan. I don't like line breeding them because I don't have that kind of time, but I like to watch the different colors appear.
Yeah, it's cool. Well, and that's how her bags come, with a mix of different shrimps in them.
Yeah, I have people all the time that are like, can I just have some Bloody Marys? And I'm like, nope. I can pull out all the red ones, but I can't guarantee that that's what they're going to breed.
Oh, those yellows that I got from you when we were up there, I've seen nothing but yellows, so they've come out really awesome.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yes.
Currently, I got a ridiculous amount of golden backs in here, but some of them are like really nice golden backs. And I'm like, I should pull those and start line breeding them. And then I'm like, I'm not going to do that. There's a shrimp riding on another shrimp. You ever seen that?
I love it. I love watching their behaviors.
They're so silly. They're actually pretty violent if you sit down and watch them. And there's one of the rainbow fish that's still in there that's eating my shrimps. Get out of there. Get out of there. I can't catch them. I've caught all but like 8 of them. and they all hide from me. And if I even touch a net right now, this dude's gonna disappear. Watch, I got the net right up here. And look how big this net is. This is what I'm using to try to catch rainbow fish. This is how big this net is.
It's like a 5-gallon net.
Hey, can you just come up front here and let me catch you? Can you just... No? And they're gone. Awesome. No, I've been leaving that net in there trying to, like, trick them and swoop them up, and I've managed to catch all but 8, but they're just so fast, and I can't do anything in this tank with a big net. Too much hardscape, too many places for them to hide. Don't ever grow out rope fish with your shrimp. It's a mistake.
Do they eat the shrimps?
When they get big enough, they do. And if you don't catch them before they're big enough, then they eat your shrimps.
The big shrimps or the big rope fish?
The rainbows are eating my shrimp.
Oh, I thought we were talking rope fish. Shrimps.
No, there's a rainbow fish in there.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I hatched out all these baby rainbows. I'll let them grow out in the 50 lowboy and then catch them and put them in another tank. And I left them in there too long, and they got too big, and now they're fast and smart and hungry.
Now, what if you had rice fish in there? I think that would be a great rice fish tank.
Oh, yeah.
Because they could just spread their eggs all over the joint and not find their eggs.
The only problem I would have in here with rice fish is the temperature.
Oh.
Because this tank is at almost 80 degrees.
Oh, wow. That's pretty warm.
I keep most of my tanks pretty warm. The only tank I have that's cold is that axolotl tank right there. That
oh, wow. It's big.
But everything else is usually around 78 to 82. And the Bashirs, this 55 with the Bashirs that breed in it, I actually keep that tank at like 85 to 88.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Well, should Bashirs be hot? Because I keep mine at 76.
In my experience with them breeding, if I drop the temperature in that tank below 82, they stop breeding.
Have you ever been able to get platinums to live yet?
I haven't even been able to get any of the babies at all to live yet. And it's a food issue. And I think it's an issue with the type of food I'm feeding, plus what that does for their gut bacteria when they're growing and developing. I think there's something that I'm missing there. I think it's probably one of the same problems I'm having with the pufferfish, is the correct food for rearing the fry.
Have you tried live Daphnia?
Oh, I've tried everything.
Okay.
I think I'm at the point where I'm going to have to create a giant infusoria farm in my basement. Because I think that's my next step.
Wow.
Because right now I don't have enough infusoria to keep those baby puffers alive. And I also can't find a food that keeps these guys alive, but I haven't tried infusoria on them. So I think I just need a big, giant infusoria farm.
And you guys, I'm talking about, she has, it's called a platinum brashear.
Yeah.
And it is the most beautiful fish. It's got black eyes, but it is.
Bumped her head the other day. See the spot? It's like a bruise. She bumped.
But let's look at that.
Platinum Senegalese Bashir.
So pretty.
He's being lazy. Are you being lazy?
And you guys not familiar with Haley? As soon as she got this guy or little girl, she was trying to have eggs.
Oh yeah, she started breeding immediately. She also came from. No, she didn't come from. No, yeah, she did. She came from A and B.
I remembered that.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, yeah.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's 11:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we've got Dave's aquarium thoughts waiting ever so kindly and patiently before he goes live. Got the link. We'll drop again. And there, Kenny E. Danikin Aquatics just dropped Dave's next, the link for his live stream.
Thanks,
But I wanted to make sure you were aware of the time because Dave is an awesome guy and he's always hanging out and patiently waiting for us to wrap things up before he kicks off.
Well, I got to wrap it up anyways because I got to go answer some more emails for aquatic carts.
Well,
now,
thank you.
is there a promo code right now? I know a lot of times you have a promo code for aquatic arts.
I do. Oddball 15. If you're placing your first order, it'll get you 15% off at aquaticarts.com. And if you use Oddball 10, you can use that on any purchase you want after that, and it'll always get you 10% off.
Very nice. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, Haley, for coming on. It's
Okay.
it's always fun to hang out with you. I can't wait till we get to hang out in real life again.
Yes, sir.
And James, thank you for doing just an amazing job being a coordinator and everything. You do a great job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Mods, thank you so much. Last week, it was all a Priscilla show. It looks like it's all a Danikin show today.
We have Priscilla dropping some links too.
Oh,
Yep.
Priscilla's wonderful. Oh, and Zen Ginger's here.
And-
Thank
yep.
you guys so much, all you mods. And if there's a mod out there that's just listening, thank you for being there too. And guys, I do this because I just have a lot of fun hanging out with y'all. So thank you everybody for just hanging out and having fun. We'll see you on Friday on the Nocturnal feeding. Or no, not the Nocturnal. Well, that's my show.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live with James and me. Tomorrow Lefty has to work late, so my show with Lefty won't start at 4:15. It'll start at 4:45. If anybody wants to watch the Lefty show, which is just a lot of crazy talk. Haley, do you have any set times right now?
Nope, my whole life is a crazy town, and I'm just trying to live through it at the moment. So I got no schedule. I'm just trying to throw out what I can.
So ring her bell, and so when she does something, it'll go off, and you can check her out.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Go check out Dave.
Go check out Dave's.